As you know, baseball season is upon us, and according to your reporting, it's a very good time to be Shohei Ohtani. What can you tell us?
That it is, because Shohei Ohtani is now the highest paid player in baseball with projected total earnings of $65 million. He'll earn $30 million in his playing salary this year and another $35 million off the field in endorsements, which, for a baseball player, for an athlete endorser in general, is just an incredible figure.
So let's break this down. How much of these earnings are based on sheer talent alone versus marketability?
I think you can't have one without the other. Obviously, Ohtani is basically a once-in-his-generation player. The ability to pitch and hit and play the field at such a high level is something we really haven't seen since Babe Ruth. So the fact that he's been able to do that demonstratively well at the major league level has really translated into this phenomenon for him. But with that being said, he's a likable guy, he's good looking, he's clean cut, and he's from Japan. And Japan is a sports crazy market that essentially worships its athletes. They hold their athletes in high regard. And the fact that Ohtani is not just, a great player to come out of Japan, but one of the best players on the planet in general, has really elevated his status. And he's found cultural elevation, cultural success back there. He's become a global icon, a global ambassador. And when brands want to work with him, they recognize that. They recognize his value and the type of presence he can deliver. So that the talent combined with, having that market open to him has just created this phenomenon where he's earning like we've never seen before.
I think this really begs the question of what makes a player marketable, because there's a huge disparity between what the top 10 highest paid players make off the field. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So in baseball, we find that a lot of players don't exactly perform in the endorsement market the way athletes in other sports do, for a number of reasons. And part of that is baseball is much more regional compared to other sports. And also the schedule is so grueling that athletes can't offer production time, or, maybe they just don't want to do things like that for what in some cases ends up being a drop in the bucket compared to their playing salaries. Whereas in Ohtani's case, he has, this global appeal. It's not just, marketing him in the US, but in Japan. And he's become the premier athlete to market in Japan. So, it's super impressive for a guy like Aaron Judge or Mike Trout to earn over $4 million in endorsements here. Perhaps they could even, with a little more effort, or I shouldn't say effort, but perhaps, with a little more opportunity or a little more time, they could raise that number further. But Ohtani has just found a way to capitalize in ways that we just don't see out of American athletes.
And you compiled baseball's highest paid players. So I do want to dive a little bit deeper into this list. Are there any common themes or trends that you've seen?
Well, I think the Ohtani thing is important because his ability to lap the other earners in terms of endorsements is really one of a kind. And this has been going on for years. Last year we estimated his endorsement value was about 20 million in deals. The year before that, it was 6. So he's been steadily rising and steadily capitalizing on his ability to be marketable, ability to get deals. Other than that, it's just the common refrain is that the on-field salaries in baseball remain high. And, several of those are new this offseason. Several of those are existing deals. But, the on-field money in baseball continues to remain high.
So, Justin, when you're talking about Ohtani, you're talking about his on the field and off the field success too. So when you're thinking about any other athlete in any other major league sport, does anyone come to mind that compares to him?
So I think it's hard to compare Ohtani to other athletes in general, just because what he's doing on the field is so unprecedented. I mean, we haven't seen it since Babe Ruth, something like 100 years ago. The ability to pitch and hit at the major league level. It's crazy. In terms of his ability to be marketable and success and stand head and shoulders above the rest of his peers in his sport, a couple names jump to mind. LeBron James obviously has been successful as an athlete, an entrepreneur, and an endorsee. When we printed the highest paid athletes list, we had him making $80 million in endorsements and other deals annually, which is way more than his playing salary. So he's one, but then you also look at, some of the other monster endorsers in the sports world, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, and these are transcendent figures above the sports they play in, where they've become global stars more than they have become just athletes. Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or LeBron James are more than soccer players or basketball players, and Shohei Ohtani has become more than just a baseball player.
Justin, you're using terms like transcendent figure, icon. You even compared Shohei Ohtani to Babe Ruth, who is the face of baseball for years and years and years. Do you think Shohei Ohtani is going to be that next face of baseball?
I think there's a good shot for it. I mean, obviously he has to continue to perform on the field because it all starts with his ability to do things we haven't seen before. He's had, a great big league career so far. Obviously it started out, he won Rookie of the Year, and then, he was injured for a little while, and then he came back, he won MVP in 2021, and last year he had a great year, though it was partly overshadowed by Aaron Judge and his stellar season. So I think he has to continue to perform on the field, but if he does that, there's no reason why he can't. He's proven that he could be extremely marketable. He's proven that he has a propensity to kind of take on these deals and continue to work on these things and engage these opportunities. Remember, a lot of this is about an athlete's willingness to take on these opportunities because they have a lot of things going on, whether it's their training, their own schedule, and he has a way where he's, popular enough that he commands a certain level with his deals. And also, I'm sure these brands understand what kind of time they're getting when they're dealing with him, but it's a choice in some regards too. So if he can keep doing it on the field and off the field, then MLB has a global star on their hands, and he already is a global star. So he's just got to keep it going.